أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب زدني علما وألحقني بالصالحين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students, we had discussed yesterday. We had discussed and we had explained page number 9. Okay, on page number 9, we discussed words to know are the difficult words, and after that, we came to the lesson. Okay, and there we learned that at the home of Mr. Kamal, the engineers were present. Okay, to accomplish or to give him the connection. For the connection, he had waited for many years. And Mr. Kamal was so much happy and excited, okay, because his long wait was now over and finally he was having a telephone connection. There was a lot of noise, but he didn't mind the noise, okay, and he served the engineers with tea and much what, much more things, and he helped them. And when the engineers they left, okay, Mr. Kamal, he sat over there, he watched lovingly at the smart new telephone in the hall, and he was unable to wait for his wife and son. So he went over there and picked up the handset, and so many times he tried to what? To act like that somebody has called him. And that was the thing. And after that, he he polished the telephone set okay with his handkerchief, and when his wife and son Nader arrived, both of them they were also, and similarly they were what excited, they were really happy to see the telephone line connected. Till evening no one called them, the telephone remained silent. Okay, no one even called them. A Whenever any of the family member they passed by the telephone, they used to pick up the receiver or the handset and say hello, hello like this, and then they what? They passed by. So suddenly on that evening, a phone call came, and three of them, the entire family, they jumped and rushed towards the telephone. Okay, and now this is the new. Listen, Mr. Kamal cleared his throat. Yes, I did. Like this. Mr. Kamal cleared his throat and picked up the handset, and he received the call. Picked up the handset means he received the call. Hello, Mr. Kamal here. Hello, I'm Mr. Kamal. So as we usually do, okay, first of all we introduce ourselves that who we are, and then the next person introduces himself. Okay, after the salam or hello, hi, then we do all these things, and he was talking very slowly, very confidently, very clearly. And this is Mrs. Arif, said the shrill voice on the other end of the line. Where are my clothes? I ordered them 3 days ago. They haven't arrived yet. I beg your pardon, said a shocked Mr. Kamal. Is that Fancy Goods Emporium? Asked the woman. No, I think you have the wrong number, madam, replied Mr. Kamal. Then the phone went dead. So, in on these few lines, we are told about the incident that Mrs. Arif, she has what? Dialed a wrong number, and the wrong number was that of Mr. Kamal, and she wanted to call the Fancy Goods Emporium. Okay, so she was really angry with the shopkeepers or with the owners of the superstore. Okay, because of the delay in the delivery of her clothes. So she complained, and what was her complaint? That her clothes are what? They are still not arrived. They are still not arrived. But Mr. Kamal, okay, said sorry to her because She had dialed a wrong number. She had dialed a wrong number. This was not Fancy Goods Emporium. This was what? This was not Fancy Goods Emporium. Okay. So after hello, hi, Mr. Kamal said to her, okay, that this is what? This is not Fancy Goods Emporium. So this is Mrs. Arif. Mrs. Arif is going to say, said a shrill voice on the other end of the line. Okay, a shrill voice mean a voice that was what? Sorry, a voice that was full of noise. That was full of noise. Okay, or a shrill voice. Shrill mean I think that is somehow thin, as usually the voice like the voice of the rest of the woman. Okay, so a shrill voice on the other end of the line asked Mrs. Arif, where are my clothes? And she inquired, she asked Mr. Kamal that where are my clothes? I ordered them 3 days ago. I ordered my clothes 3 days earlier, 3 days ago. They haven't arrived yet. And still, I do not receive them. I didn't receive them. So over here, boys, if you see that this type of sentence was over there in the previous exercise, okay? And if you remember that we were given the word yet to use and replace what? Replace still. So they still haven't arrived. So it was what like that. They still haven't arrived. So we will remove the still and then do what add yet to at the end of the sentence and it will become like that. They haven't arrived yet. I beg your pardon, said shocked Mr. Kamal. Mr. Kamal was puzzled. He was shocked. Okay, he was really somehow puzzled. He was perplexed. That what happened? Who's calling? What clothes and which what? Who's the lady, Mrs. Arif? Because he was not knowing her. So he was puzzled. He was shocked. Is that Fancy Goods Emporium? Asked the woman. Then the, the lady wanted to reaffirm, she wanted to confirm that whether the phone number is that of the Fancy Goods Emporium or someone else. So, no, I think you have the wrong number, madam, replied the Kamal, Mr. Kamal. Mr. Kamal replied, madam, you have the wrong number. This is not what? Fancy Goods Emporium. Then the phone went dead. Then the phone went dead means then the call was disconnected. Then the call was disconnected. So this was a little bit conversation, a dialogue between the two callers. Okay, one caller was a lady, as we usually do. There is hello and hi. Hello, how are you? I'm fine. I'm good. Okay, who's there? This is Mr. Kamal. Okay, so this is Mrs. Arif. If you're going to write a conversation or a dialogue, okay, this is Mrs. Arif, and what type of voice she was having? She was having a shrill voice. She was having a shrill voice. Okay, so she's now going to inquire about her clothes. Where are my clothes? I ordered them 3 days ago. They haven't arrived yet. So from over here, Mr. Kamal is going to answer, I beg your pardon, excuse me, lady. Okay, he was shocked. He was shocked. Excuse me, lady, I beg your pardon. So then she was in doubt. She was in doubt. Okay, that is the maybe she was thinking that there is some problem. Is that Fancy Goods Emporium? Is that Fancy Goods Emporium? Okay. So Mr. Kamal answered, no, this is not Fancy Goods Emporium. You have a wrong number. And then the call was what? Disconnected. Mr. Kamal was very excited. Mr. Kamal was really happy. He was so much what? Enthusiastic and excited and happy. He put down the handset and he what? After disconnecting the call, he put down the handset and told his wife and son about the woman. And he then narrated the story, narrated the what the incident that was on the call, okay, and told all these things to his son and what wife. You should have asked her for her number. Mrs. Kamal what? She says to her husband that why don't you what? Why don't you ask her number? Maybe sometime we would have called her. So then we could have given her a call sometimes. So Mrs. Kamal says, if you would have taken her number, so we would have called her sometimes. Sometimes. The following morning, the phone rang again. This time, Mrs. Kamal got to it first. So, after the excitement, after that conversation, that the lady, okay, Mrs. Kamal, what she told Mr. Kamal that why don't you took her number? Maybe we would have called her for some time, okay. And after that, the next morning, the phone rang again. There was a next caller, okay, and this time Mrs. Kamal got to it first. At this time, Mrs. Kamal went over there to receive the call. Okay, went over there to receive the call. Okay, and she said, "Hello." She said, "Hello. Do you have any silk scarves?" asked the caller. Then the caller was straightforward to her what? To her inquiry. And what was the inquiry? Do you have any silk scarves? Okay, any silk scarves. The word silk means that is a soft cloth, okay, or made of silk, a cloth that's made of silk, and scarf that is somehow a head scarf, a head cover, okay. The ladies used to cover their head with that scarf. So when that scarf is made of silk, then that is silk scarf. That is silk scarf. So ask the color that do you have any silk scarves? Silk scarves? Asked Mrs. Kamal, puzzled. Now, if you can see that over here, the word puzzled is used for Mrs. Kamal, and the word shocked is used for Mr. Kamal. The word shocked is used for Mr. Kamal. So that was the thing that both of them they were shocked, they were puzzled, okay, by the first calls, okay, by receiving the first calls because her husband, what? Her husband received a call of Mrs. Arif that she was inquiring about her clothes, okay, and now there was another lady she was going to ask for scarves, okay, so still scarves asked Mrs. Kamal, puzzled. She was really shocked. Silk scarves? Yes, silk scarves, replied the color. Yes, I want them. Silk scarves, yes, I want them. Okay, I want silk scarves. I don't think so, said Mrs. Kamal. But Mrs. Kamal said, oh, I don't think so that you need what? Silk scarves. So the lady, okay, at the other end of the phone, okay, she was once again in doubt. She was unclear. She was thinking that maybe she had dialed a wrong number. Is that Fancy Goods Emporium? So she asked Mrs. Kamal that is this Fancy Goods Emporium? Okay. No, this is Mrs. Kamal. So Mrs. Kamal similarly answered as her husband has answered that no, this is not Fancy Goods Emporium. This is not Fancy Goods Emporium. Okay. And then the line went dead. And then the call was disconnected. A line went dead means the call was disconnected. So the first two calls, okay, that they were received or which were received by the lady and Mr. Kamal and Mrs. Kamal, so both were wrong numbers. Both were what? Both were wrong numbers. Okay, and both of the calls were for Fancy Goods Emporium. And according to me, let me say, okay, that maybe the phone number that they were using now, the telephone line that they were using now, okay, this was previously the telephone connection of the Fancy Goods Emporium. And maybe they were defaulters, they hadn't paid the bills, okay, that is why their connection was disconnected and it was given to Kamal's, okay, it was given to Kamal's. So that was the thing that time and again, the wrong numbers they were coming. Okay, they were coming. So first color she was a lady. The second color once again she was a lady, and first color was demanding her clothes, And the second caller, she was similarly inquiring or asking for some shawls, sorry, some scarves. A few minutes later, the phone rang again, and after a few minutes, okay, this was early in the morning, so the phone started to ring again, the phone rang again, okay, and now at this time, what happened? Uh, they are going to discuss. Mr. Kamal is going to exclaim, "We seem to have a popular number," said Mr. Kamal as he rushed to answer the phone. Mr. Kamal was rushing. The word rushing means he was in a hurry, okay? He was somehow just like running towards the receiver, okay? He was running towards the phone, okay, to receive the phone call. While running towards that side, while he was in hurry towards receiving the phone, he exclaimed, "Oh, we have a famous number. We have a popular number. The word popular mean famous, okay? Oh, we have a popular number, okay? But this time, before him, okay, Nadir got there first. Nadir got there first. Nadir got there first. And Nadir was the first person to receive the call. And he held the phone to his ear. As you can see that Nadir is what? Holding the phone to his ear, okay? If you can see over there on the pages of your book. So Nadir got there first and he received the call and what? And held the receiver okay to his ear and but said nothing, but he remained silent. He uttered no word. He uttered no word. From time to time, he shook his head vigorously from side to side. And instead of talking, instead of replying, instead of answering, he was doing what? He was answering the caller with like this, yes, 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 no, 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 like this, okay? So vigorously mean powerfully, with power, with force, violently. He was like this, yes, yes, yes. So the third call was received by their son Nadir, okay, and Nadir instead of talking, instead of verbal answers, he was what? He was shaking his head vigorously, powerfully from side to side, and he was saying nothing. Okay, say something, said his father, prodding him in the back. So as you can see that Mr. Kamal, his father is over here and he is doing what? Prodding him. Prodding him means he's pushing him with his fingers. With his fingers, okay? He is somehow hitting him with his fingers. Oh, why don't you talk? Why don't you talk? Say something, say something, say something like this, okay? So he was prodding him from the back or in the back, okay? He was thrusting him in the back that why don't you say something, okay? My son, say something. So this was all about the lecture, okay? Or today's lecture. So the first day was with three calls, and first caller was Mrs. Arif, and Mrs. Arif was inquiring about the delivery of her clothes. And the clothes she has bought from Fancy Goods Emporium. But Mr. Kamal told her that this is not Fancy Goods Emporium. You have the wrong number. You have the wrong number. Got it? And then the next call was received by the excited lady, okay, and by Mrs. Kamal. And when Mrs. Kamal got there and picked up the phone, when she received the phone, okay, there was a lady, and the lady was demanding silk scarves. And same thing happened, okay, there was another wrong caller or somehow a person that he was having wrong number, okay, a lady, she was having wrong number and similar answer or same answer she gave her that this is not Fancy Goods Emporium and you have a wrong number, and then the call was disconnected. The line went down means the call was disconnected. And a few minutes later, then the telephone rang again, and Mr. Kamal rushed over there to receive the phone, okay? But Nader was over there first and he had received the phone. Then instead of talking, instead of what, saying something, he was shaking his head vigorously, powerfully, violently, okay? And then his father says him, son, say something. He was prodding him from the back, okay, with his finger. So see if you have any word difficult, anything that you don't understand. Arrive mean reach, okay? Arrive mean reach, and order mean when you order something, when you order a pizza or somehow anything nowadays, okay, on internet, okay? And then pick mean to pick up, okay, or to take. And the next is clear mean to remove the impurities, okay, or to remove the impurities, to purify. And the next we are coming towards wrong number means wrong number, and the phone went dead means the call was disconnected. And then the next is, my dear students, uh, I think there is nothing that difficult. If you can see, if any word is difficult, I can tell you. Silk, that is a type of somehow cloth, okay, and scarf means a head scarf, okay, a shawl-like thing that the ladies wear. And the next is vigorously. Vigorously mean powerfully, with force, violently. So if you have any question, boys, you can ask me. Do you have any question? If you have any question about anything, you can ask me. No question? Okay, boys, thank you so much for staying with me and have a good day. Allah Hafiz.